Welcome to today's episode of the Good Enough Mom podcast. And today we talk about the power of your self-talk. And I'm going to share more of my personal story and also a little bit of extra coaching help just in one episode. Yes, that is what I prepared for you today. So we are going to start with a little bit I'm going to tell you a little bit more about me, about my story, who am I to talk about these things. And then I'm going to tell you a little bit more about my bumpy journey, how I started as a new mom. And then I'm going to give you one of the best gifts ever that changed my life and changed my experience in motherhood. And it's not exaggeration and like, oh, I'm just promising too much. No, it really did. And then I'm going to give you this gift so that you can actually just take this with you and you're never going to have the same experience ever again. You're never going to have the same shitty self-talk ever again because you are going to know how powerful it actually is. So I already introduced myself very quickly in the very first episode, but as you know, my name is Eszter Bisabo. Originally, I am from Hungary. Currently, in this very moment, I'm living in London with my family. I have two kids. And when I became a mom, that journey was just absolutely not what I prepared for, what I expected. We were very much looking forward to have our first baby, and then PPD hit me. I'm going to record an episode separately for what can happen in the postpartum period, like postpartum depression, anxiety, intrusive thoughts. Now, today, I really just want to share more about my own experience and how I lived through that, how I survived, and what was the number one thing that actually helped me out of it. So I remember that it really started for me like as soon as possible. Like you cannot start it earlier because I was just giving birth. I was still on the hospital bed and I completely just fall apart. I was crying. I didn't feel any joy or bonding that normally should have helped me. I was tired, exhausted, and I felt like, what the hell did I do to my life? So the self-talk I had in my head, everything I told myself, all the thoughts were around, I screwed up my life. I was telling myself really, really negative things. And then I was beating myself up for thinking like that because a good mom should never think these thoughts. So, not enough that I had thoughts, but I was beating myself very heavily up afterwards. Like, how dare I think those thoughts? So, I was suffering, and that I added even more pain to that suffering. So, my number three, top three thoughts, let's say, I had in my self-talk in the beginning, in the first few weeks, was really that I'm not cut out for motherhood. There is something wrong with me. And the third was that a good mom would never think that. So whatever I had in my head, it made me think that I'm not a good mom because a good mom would never think that. So you can imagine my overall experience. I was crying. I was really feeling like, okay, like my world didn't just turn upside down, but it literally fall apart. Like, I don't want to live like this. This is living hell. This is so painful. This is so bad. This is so terrible. There is just no way out of here. That was, I think, my overall worst experience in postpartum is like, I cannot send her back, right? She's already here with us. I cannot send her back. So this is my life now. This, what I experience now in this very moment, this is gonna be forever. And that was the pain, the suffering. So I was telling myself, like my self-talk was very negative because whatever my brain told me, whatever thoughts I had, I just immediately believed them all because I didn't have yet the power of coaching, like mirroring the thoughts. And I'm going to tell you more about that in this very episode. And then I had that negative self-talk, and on the top of it, I was constantly beating myself up for thinking like that. You see, it's like it was a vicious circle and there was like no way around it. Just no way coming out of it. So the biggest gift that I get, it was on the very first coaching session that I had with my coach. Because after a few months, I I realized, and then luckily I had a very, very supportive environment. And then they encouraged me to ask for support. And I also realized like I cannot live like this. I feel constantly anxious, resentment, frustration, anger. I hate my life. I don't want to live like this. And also, my baby doesn't deserve this. So I was beating myself up for having certain thoughts. I was beating myself up for not being who I wanted myself to be as a mom. And it was really like living hell. And I reached that point when I just realized that I cannot bear this anymore. Something needs to happen, and I need to do it for myself, and I need to do this for my baby, because because that is just not how life is supposed to be, for sure. And I reached out to this coach who was recommended to me. Like I never even knew what life coaching was about. I thought that it was kind of a scam of bullshit. Like somebody is going to tell me what to do. But then she was recommended to me and I was so desperate. I was open to anything. It was just like somebody help me. Somebody help me get out of this. And I remember that we just literally opened up the call. She was very present. She was very empathic and kind. And I just started to tell her everything that I thought that the problem was. That I was not bonding with the baby, that I'm not cut out for motherhood, that I really feel so down constantly. And the moment she was like mirroring back and telling me what I was telling her, totally reframing and really showing me the angle, like how I was beating myself up, how I was hurting myself, just because I really believed all my thoughts as reality. That was the very first time in my life that I was introduced to the idea, to the concept, to the truth, because that is the truth, is that our thoughts are optional. Your thoughts are not reality. Your thoughts feel very much that they are reality because obviously we believe them if we don't question them. But the thoughts are not the reality. They are optional and we can choose different thoughts. So when I was telling her that I'm not cut out for motherhood, that I just screwed up my life, she mirrored back and helped me see how when I was keep thinking that I'm not cut out for motherhood, that I screwed up my life, it is just going to pull me down into this insecurity, anxiety, and despair. But I have the power to let that go because the very powerful thing to see is that circumstances are facts, that is reality. Your thoughts are already an interpretation of the circumstance. The thoughts are just interpretation of those facts, and they can be changed. They can be optional. So think about it for a moment. If I'm not cut out for motherhood, would be the fact, because that was for me very much the fact. that would mean that everybody in my environment would have thought that. Everybody on this earth would agree, or at that time would have agreed, that I'm not cut out for motherhood. And that was not the case. I was still caring for my baby. I was exclusively breastfeeding her. I was with her 24/7. I was walking with her. I was just like, even in that painful period, I was just trying to really keep her alive and serve her and do my best. It's just now thinking back, and I didn't plan on crying, but I get just so emotional with this. Um, I really didn't feel that I was a good mom and I was a good enough mom in that the first period, because I felt so down and in such a dark place. But now looking back and seeing that I was still going out and having fresh air with her, still um, just changing the diapers, breastfeeding her, even when it was painful and challenging. And I'm so damn proud of myself now. And I know that I'm a good mom and I'm a good enough mom. But back then, I was hurting myself so much because I thought that I was not. Whew. Okay, so just give me a second. I'm coming back. So your thoughts are optional. And when you have a negative self-talk pulling you down, then you have the power to change that because your thoughts are not reality. Just think about like it's a buffet and you can eat the yummy, like really good food, or you can eat the junk food, the crap, whatever. It's you to choose from that buffet. And when you have a negative self-talk, when you're beating yourself up for being not good enough, or anyhow, when anyway you are beating yourself, you are choosing to eat the crap food. And you have the power to change that self-talk and say something nice to yourself. And when you have a thought that feels like crap, then you question it. Then you don't take it as this is a fact, but question it. That is the biggest transformation, like very quickly, I got from coaching right away in the very first coaching session I had with my coach. It's like, oh my God, it's not true. Like it is not really that my life is fallen apart and it's not really the fact that I'm a crappy mother. It's like, what? Your thoughts are optional. Your thoughts are for you to choose, for you to change. And yes, the brain is offering us automatic thoughts, and we have negative thoughts, and we have annoying thoughts, and whatever. But it doesn't mean that you have to keep them. It doesn't mean you have to entertain them. You can just let them fly away. You can just let them pass, and you can choose something which is more positive, more empowering. Watch out for your self-talk because whatever you are thinking, that is creating the feeling in you, that is creating your experience in life. For me, it was all that negative self-talk, how I was beating myself up, how I was comparing myself, how I was just never really satisfied with who I was as a mom because I felt like shit all the time. So my self-talk was reflecting that. My self-talk was all about beating myself up because that was my reality. So coaching helped me to reframe those. Coaching helped me to see what was reality and what was not, and really change the way I thought of motherhood, of myself, and definitely of my future. I'm sure that I'm going to share more about this because that was again a very important milestone and turning point for me when I stopped really being in that darkness, in that box, encaged in this is my life now, and moved to more of that hope of having a vision for the future. Like, what do I want now? And that was again a very important breakthrough, a very important turning point. But just for today, what I brought for you is really that your thoughts are optional. So watch out for your self-talk. That is the reminder, and that is what I want to gift you, and that is what I want to give, that you take it away because it's so powerful when you question your own thoughts and you just don't believe everything that your brain is offering to you. This is how my coaching journey started. I obviously back then I didn't even consider becoming a coach. I was in a corporate job. I was always an employee in my life. So I never ever considered myself being a coach. But then because it helped me from that very deep darkness, from that hole that I was just sure that my life is over and fallen apart. And coaching helped me out of this. And then since then, I've never stopped learning, never stopped really like soaking more and more into the coaching and different type of coaching and techniques because our brain is just so powerful. So the more technique you have, like for me as a coach, the more empowered I feel to help all my clients who are more logical, who are more feeling person. Like, I just cannot get enough of this because it is simply like amazing and beyond my imagination what I had back then, how powerful our brain is and how much power actually we have over what we are thinking and what we are feeling and what we are creating in our lives. For me, reality was PPD. For me, reality was that I was a bad mom. For me, definitely reality was that there is no way out of this because I had such a negative talk and I believed everything that my brain was telling me. So I was suffering in it. And then, as I said, beating myself up for it, for having that self talk. So this episode is not only about my personal story and about me, it's about you. It's really about thinking anytime when you feel like crap, when you keep beating yourself up, when you have that thought that you're not good enough, that you are not cut out for motherhood. This is a thought. I am not a good enough mother. It is just a thought that you can pick or just let it pass and don't believe in it because thoughts are optional. Thank you so much for listening today. It was an honor again to share with you, and I cannot wait to talk to you again. Bye.